Hello guys, welcome to SteveKnows. Today's video was a lot of effort, but I was sick and tired of always wanting to know what VR experiences are available out there that are based on existing franchises. Because it's something I always thought VR should do. Take games that people love and enjoy, or franchises people love and enjoy, and create experiences around that to bring people into the platform. So I scrolled through an insane amount of games to pick out this list. There's over 50, nearly 60 of them here for you, and it highlighted to me that there is so much crap and shovelware on the Meta store, just G-Tag clones everywhere. I was scrolling for ages. Meta needs to do something about this. Also, if I miss anything in this list, please comment it down below so others can know and also I can find out for myself. And if you like the look of any of the games that you see here, I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to check it out. I think that is enough chin wagging. Let's get started. Today's video is sponsored, but it's a VR game, Ember, being coined the Prince of Persia of VR, as it's set in a Persian palace and offers you parkour traversal with hack and slash gory combat with 20 different weapons, and then you have some puzzles to change the pacing of the gameplay. The name of the game comes from the fact that you find Ember stones that will give you unique abilities as you progress, such as the classic, just like in Sands of Time, time manipulation. And the game is a gem. Just look at the footage, the hand-to-hand combat, the traversal, the wall running, the special abilities. This game is going to end up on many top 10 lists. It has a few modes available as well, like a sandbox training area to hone your skills, a story-driven campaign offering over 6 hours of gameplay to destroy the Shadow Sultan, and a raids mode, which is a procedurally generated roguelite mode, where it becomes more about the fast-paced nature of the game and leveraging its mechanics. And a fun fact, the developers Virtual Age also brought us the fantastic Guardians Frontline. So if you're interested in checking out Ember, I'll link it down below in the description. Alien Rogue Incursion. It's not actually out yet, it's coming December 19th, and it's going to offer roguelike gameplay as you face off against the Xenomorphs, one of my most anticipated games as a huge Alien franchise fan, and I look forward to going toe-to-toe with them and blasting them away, whilst I'm trying to save my friends. Hitman 3, one of the biggest flat-screen franchises, made its way to VR, promising us a full-length campaign and a huge world, but with disappointing results. Bad visuals and not so great mechanics that have no business being in the VR medium. It's a huge name to have in VR, but the game, I just would not recommend it. Resident Evil 4, a Quest 2 exclusive at the time of its release, but it is available on Quest 3 of course, turning the GameCube era release into a VR marvel. It had some of the crispest visuals with its chosen art style. Cutscenes are viewed on a cinema screen sadly, but the gameplay and a chance to play one of the greatest games of all time in VR, for me was a privilege. This is highly recommended. It has tension and tons of satisfying zombie action. Metro Awakening, the latest AAA franchise to hit the Quest platform, receiving a mixed reception from the community, but I know lots of VR veterans, including myself, rate this game rather highly, as it offers a huge single-player experience with 8 to 10 hours of gameplay, with one of the best narratives in a game that I've played in recent times, whilst providing action-packed moments with emotional power, or rather creepy, scary moments. It has a bunch of mechanics and visuals that are impressive for standalone hardware, and if you like the Metro series, this is a prequel to it, and it's worth checking out. Batman Arkham Shadow, potentially game of the year with mass appeal. This has you embodying the Bat in a really large-scaled single-player experience, a 10 out of 10 must-play, that you actually get for free with your Quest 3 or 3S purchases up until April, I believe. The combat is a bit like a dance where you have to hit markers to eliminate enemies, which lends itself well to keep a flow during combat, and providing a great way for new VR players to get into the medium. But I know some people aren't entirely keen on it. Jurassic World Aftermath. A game that's been forgotten recently, but it's one of the best Alien Isolation-like gameplays available on the Quest. It has a cel-shaded art style, which means it has amazingly crisp visuals that perform smoothly on the standalone hardware. This title's all about suspense, tension and stealth as you navigate the island to try and escape, as it's completely infested with raptors and the dreaded T-Rex. It does come in 2 parts though, part 1 and part 2, and sometimes they have bundle offers on, which I recommend getting. I think this game is brilliant. Next we have Pavlov with its Call of Duty mod. This is not a Quest exclusive, but since the release of Black Ops 6, I want to give a shout out to Pavlov on the PC with its Steam Workshop Black Ops modification, meaning you can play Nuketown Zombies in VR and classic online multiplayer maps. It is literally just like Call of Duty but in virtual reality. It is such a rush, so nostalgic. I can't recommend this enough if you have a semi-decent gaming PC. Half-Life. Half-Life 1 is not a purchasable game on the Quest store, but it is a side-loadable game, leveraging the Lambda mod. So you can buy the game on Steam for super cheap and then sideload it with this mod, and you can enjoy the full game in virtual reality with motion controls, giving you a chance to experience the origins of Half-Life. And once completed, you can move on to Half-Life 2, because that has a VR mod, and then make your way up to Half-Life Alyx. Doom. Doom 1 is available via SideQuest if you really want to enjoy the retro experience that's ingrained in so many of our older guys' hearts for a nostalgia hit. Plus, it has built-in mods into the Quest Z launcher. There is also the ability to play Doom 3, which is available with high-definition textures, which provides a much creepier experience, but with modernized visuals that are some of the best you can play on standalone. Plus, it's the full game. You have a full feature-length campaign to enjoy on the headset that is action-packed and creepy. Thank you to Team B for these side-loaded ports. I highly recommend these titles. Starship Troopers Continuum, a recent release based on the sci-fi cult classic movie Starship Troopers that released 25 years ago. This is an arcade-like roguelike experience with upgradable elements that offers a multiplayer option, so you can play online with friends and take on this game cooperatively. Take on the arachnid aliens together. It's all about the chaos, it's all about the action. Not really my kind of game. I liked the movie, but the game relies on the franchise too much for me. But I know some reviewers have been talking highly of this. Among Us VR. Coming from the viral hit, you are transported into that game onto the Skeld spaceship, and the premise of this game is exactly the same, except you're now operating as one of the characters on the ship, running around and completing tasks. But the fun comes from the arguments you have with people. The feeling that VR gives you, the feeling of presence, really hits home in this game. It's for sure the best way to play this experience, and I know it's not going to be for everyone, but it's a really easy, fun game to play. Just find the imposter and read people's body language and their tone of voice to find out who it is. Iron Man VR, a Marvel hit ported to the Quest by Camouflage, who also developed the Batman game. This title has the same impressive visual fidelity and polish as that, but it offers you the chance to get into the Mark IV suit and fly through the sky firing your blasters. It does have a story-driven narrative to drive the experience, but the levels that you play are more like an arena/semi-open world experience. And to this day, I still think about the opening sequence of this game, the crashing aeroplane. It is such a beautiful prologue, an incredible title, and a bucket list for many to be able to be in the suit. Next is the Sniper Elite series. Sniper Elite and Sniper Elite Winter Soldier are both available on Quest, offering full-length single-player campaigns that have taken the flat-screen franchise fame of the slow-motion X-ray kill cams and brought that into VR. The game has had a mixed reception at times, due to the flow of the campaign being a little stale and repetitive, a bit like the original games in fact. But you have two titles here based off fan-favourite franchises, which may be right up your street, or you may be into sniping. Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, a game that Meta sank a lot of time and money into, that when it launched looked like a half-baked potato and has recently been forgotten about. But I think this game still has a lot to offer if you play on PC or on Quest, because it offers a lengthy first-person shooter campaign set during the war, and you can also experience real footage from that time in this game. It's quite powerful. It just feels like I'm playing Medal of Honor on my Xbox again around 15 years ago. But do not buy this game for the multiplayer experience. It's dead now. Meta have cut it. It is no longer supported. But they didn't cut the price. The Walking Dead, one of the best-selling VR games on the platform, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. It has a sequel available as well called Retribution, so I'm bundling these two together because they are one franchise. And this game is tied more to the comic series than it is tied to the TV show that you may know and love. It has visceral gameplay when you're killing zombies. It also has inventory management, a great narrative, and stunning visuals. This should be on your list for single-player campaigns for sure. It's one of the best-selling and one of the best available on the platform. It's an experience that only VR can provide. Stabbing a zombie in the head and then having to pull its skull off your knife is a crazy feeling. Star Wars. There are a few games available under this franchise. There is the Vader Immortal series, which is almost like you're a spectator of a Star Wars experience with some interactivity intertwined. It's a little short, but it has a great narrative involving Darth Vader. And if you're going to buy any of this series, buy the third installment, as it has the best dojo, because at this point in the game you have unlocked all of your abilities. And still, all these years later, there's no better feeling than the lightsaber being activated. You can feel it vibrating in your hand, a 10 out of 10 VR moment. There is also a Tale from the Galaxy's Edge that offers you a story-driven campaign set in the Star Wars universe as well, where you can leverage the blasters and the gadgets of this world. This game felt a little stale to me. I didn't really get along with it. I wasn't the biggest fan, but it offered a deeper dive into the universe than Vader Immortal did, and a lot more freedom to explore. Assassin's Creed Nexus, a franchise that needs no introduction, and a VR experience that matches. I adored this game. It had you jumping between colonial America, the Renaissance period, and ancient Greece. But obviously the best part about this is you get to play as Ezio Auditore, the iconic assassin, and utilize the classic hidden blade and parkour mechanics of this game, jumping around the rooftops of Venice, taking on time trials, missions, side quests, or just causing trouble. Death from above never gets old. Stranger Things. Coming off the back of the previous season where Vecna became one of the show's most notorious villains, you actually get to play as him in this game and utilize his telekinetic abilities. It's rocking a cel-shaded art style that does make the game a visual feast at times. It's a little bit trippy, but the game didn't offer anything new. It felt a little bit dead apart from the cool visuals. It's a great option if you're looking for something that is a bit more about consuming a narrative than being an active participant in the world. I think you need to be a fan of the series to enjoy this one. Ghostbusters, a franchise made famous from a slew of movies from what some people would call old these days. This VR game offers a cooperative, multiplayer experience with 3 other friends, and as you'd expect, you have to work together to scan with their PKE meter and hunt down the ghosts, and when you find one, use your proton packs to catch it. That is an experience and a feeling that I know so many people have wanted. A bucket list tick thanks to VR. And there's also a mixed reality mode as well if you want to experience something different and have ghosts in your own home. Final Space. I'll admit, the game is not the best, but I'm such a fan of the first season of this animation that I didn't care. I love the humour in this game, but that's all that really carries it through. The fact it can be played cooperatively with a friend is also a benefit, but it's simple. You just shoot some stuff and move on to the next stage. Nothing innovative, but some good funny dialogue and an amusing play if you've got a buddy who likes this series. Triangle Strategy. A different style of VR game now from Square Enix, the team that brought us titles like Final Fantasy, and as you'll see, this looks exactly like something that's come from that franchise. This game has a HD/2D art style that looks brilliant. It reminds me of the Octopath Traveler on the Switch, where it had part 3D environments but then 2D sprites with a retro pixelated art style. It's beautiful. This is a strategic turn-based title where your aim is to take out the enemy in the most effective way possible, and throughout the game you're also given choices that change the narrative of the game, so there's some replayability there if you want to experience different endings, and it has a mixed reality mode so you can see the battlefield on your coffee table or something. Bulletstorm, a game that at launch didn't receive the warmest of welcomes, and its first hour of gameplay was rather slow paced and put people off, but it's had some patches since then to fix many of the issues that people had complained about, and they also did this big announcement where they were like, we fixed it, about 4 months ago. This action-packed game is based on the flat-screen hit Bulletstorm. You can slide along the floor, boot enemies, use a variety of weapons, leverage the environment, and utilize an electrical whip, which is pretty fun. If you like chaos and you like shooting things, this game should be a good time now it's repaired, plus you can also flip the bird in it, which is fun. Warhammer Battle Sister. Warhammer fans, you have a first-person shooter available on Quest that isn't a revolutionary VR experience, but it doesn't try to be. It doesn't pretend that it is. It offers dual-wielding, high-octane action experiences against crazy enemies and big boss fights. But there is something to be said about coming face-to-face with a Space Marine in this game. If you're a fan of the franchise, that is a special moment. Zombieland Headshot Fever, a game based on the comedic zombie movie Zombieland, except this time the main character isn't a socially awkward, well, maybe you are. This is a time crisis-like arcade shooter, where you have to teleport to predefined locations, which sets you up to slow down time and aim for heads and blow them off That sounds wrong. But the game's called Headshot Fever, so it's all about headshots. It offers simple gameplay, but addictive gameplay. Great for newcomers to VR because of the style of play. But of course, if you're a veteran, you're going to be looking for something a bit more in-depth and involved. Five Nights at Freddy's, a scary cult classic, especially in the VR scene. This game has gained such a following, but it was originally a flat-screen simple PC game. So you play the security guard of this pizzeria, and you have to survive through the night as animatronics try to hunt you down and kill you. It's a rather simple game to learn because it's almost a bunch of mini games, but it packs a punch. You will scream. This game also includes a sequel, which is recently released for VR as well if you're interested. Grid Legends, a racing game based on the well-known flat-screen racer Grid. But EA have stopped support of this game. There is no longer online multiplayer, and it wasn't exactly well received when this game released. It's an exciting big franchise, a racer that didn't really deliver what people were expecting at launch. It was filled with bugs, but of course updates have occurred and have fixed many of the issues, and now I would say it's one of the more desirable racers on Quest based on its environments and its tracks, but I'd avoid Quest racing games altogether really. PC is where it's at if you want to enjoy this genre. I just don't think standalone hardware can keep up with the pacing that is required. Peaky Blinders. Fans of the TV show will be able to get their fingers into more of the infamous gang in this story-driven adventure title about saving the country. Visually, the game sets up a good environment of the 1920s, and you also get to see characters from the series in the game, in iconic locations like the Garrison's pub. Plus there are guns, so pew pew, you'll get to shoot things. Human Fall Flat. This is a new adaptation of the flat screen game into VR, but offers a different method of controlling your wobbly character, where it's still a third-person perspective, but you have to control through motion controls, a bit like a puppet. It's not a visual marvel, it's actually pretty simple, but it isn't always about the visuals. It offers a wacky, silly physics platform experience that's different to many things you get to play in VR, so you may enjoy it. Attack on Titan. Anime fans and fast-paced VR gamers will enjoy this one, because VR offers you a sense of scale that flat-screen gaming just can't do as well, and seeing the size of the Titans in this is a unique experience. The game is also a good time, having you swing around the town and using that momentum to get up close and slash them to bits. You can also change your weaponry if you wish as well, which slightly changes the approach that you'll have to take in each battle, but the fun here is the swinging for sure. Metal Hellsinger, a new release of a game that received high praise as a rhythm shooter, and I think the VR version is just flat out better, pun intended. It's so much more immersive and engaging. It rewards you for attacking enemies to the musical beat. But the music here is metal, and the theme is demons. So you end up getting in a flow state, and once you're done, you're looking at the environments and the architecture because it's got this gothic design to everything that you don't see very often. It's beautiful. Tarzan VR. The name Tarzan, it sounds fun, but the game isn't offering much. I don't think it's the best game, especially what you have on offer right now. It's less and more The visuals, though, have an animated art style that lends itself well to the game's whimsical nature, such as the pow pop-ups when you bash an enemy over the head. In this jungle world, you will swing, you'll climb, you'll swim, and you'll do that for about a couple of hours, and the game ends. Not long. Blair Witch. Based on the movie The Blair Witch Project, where documentary makers head into the forest and things start to go a little wrong. Creepy games are touch and go in VR due to how immersive the medium is, but if it's your thing to get scared, this offers a story-driven narrative, not just a jump scare in and out kind of playstyle, something a bit more mature than that. Plus, you have a dog called Bullet. How can you say no to a dog? The game eases you into the fear as well, giving you time to adjust to the creepiness, but once you're in, it's too late to stop. Good luck. You have this sense of sunken lost fallacy. I can't play, but I have to play, I gotta finish it. Mudrunner VR, a flat-screen game that was brought to the VR medium, where you'll enjoy some off-roading as the name suggests. Utilising different vehicles such as flatbeds, log carriers, you'll have to complete contracts that will give you rewards. So you'll face things like soft gravel or rivers that you have to navigate across. The game's a bit like a simulation light experience, as you have to manage things like your fuel supply as well. Even your window wipers if it's raining. Exploding Kittens. This is based on a card game franchise this time. It brings that card game into VR and puts it into an online multiplayer setting, and because it's VR, it can apply the weird and wacky character of the card game in full force. You have to force your opponents to pull the exploding kitten, and you'll win the game. Trombone Champ Unflattened. The Flat to VR studio has taken the viral hit Trombone Champ, which is a musical game, and transformed it into an immersive VR experience, where you have to physically play a trombone, moving its tuning slider cursor to hit the notes and play the song. A simple premise, but done well and so much fun. Zombie Army VR. This game is not out yet, but it is coming. The same developers of this game brought us Sniper Elite: Rebellion. This is one that I'm really excited for. I love zombies, and this offers World War II based gameplay in a fantasy horror setting, where taking off heads feels satisfying and not like murder. If we get a game that looks half as good as what it is being advertised to be, we're going to be in for a treat. Hordes and hordes of zombies. Hello Neighbor. This was a survival game that I knew from the Nintendo Switch about sneaking into a neighbor's house to find out what's going on in their basement. The VR version is a horror puzzle game where you will have to play multiple characters in order to solve puzzles in hope of saving your friend who is stuck in the house. The narrative is non-linear. The story is uncovered and peeled back as you discover it when you're embodying each of the characters. But the main thing in this game is, don't get caught. You're in someone else's house. Lego Brick Tales. A game that always puts a smile on my face, especially leveraging the mixed reality mode where you can view a Lego universe before you in your own room and look at the map in 360 degrees. The childlike fun of Lego mixed with a platformer is good fun. It's exactly what you would expect from a Lego game. Little puzzles, building things with virtual Lego, and finding collectibles. Simple and fun. Roblox. Not exactly my cup of tea, but a big game to have VR support for the younger adopters. It offers a sandbox world-building style of game that means the possibilities are actually endless, except the performance on Quest is not the best in many cases, you have been warned. Its greatest strength of community-driven content seems to also be its weakness. If you know Roblox and you want a social VR experience, this is one to check out because it is free. Catan VR. Not much to say on this. It's an international board game, Catan, but in VR. Taskmaster, based on the TV show that you may have seen on Dave, where they get celebrities and comedians to take on stupid tasks for our entertainment. But as a VR game, it's offering a puzzle experience where you take on tasks to please the Taskmaster, and it looks really entertaining, but it's not. It's pretty shallow. I'd avoid this one. Doctor Who: Edge of Time. This for me was a bucket list experience. It actually made me tear up as a huge Whovian fan. If you like Doctor Who, this is a must play. You travel in the TARDIS, you experience the "it's bigger on the inside," you have a sonic screwdriver, and you face off against the Daleks and come toe to toe with the Weeping Angels. Don't blink. The game's not actually that great though. It definitely relies on the fanfare to get you through it, but you've got to experience it if you're a fan. Power Wash Simulator, a flat screen hit that was like free therapy for many as the white noise of the jet wash and the cleaning aspect became very addictive. This being VR though, it becomes much more involved. You'll hold the jet wash firing your high pressured water at the dirt, bending down and moving in 6DOF to get in all the nooks and crannies. This is the best way to play the game. Tetris Effect. This takes that Game Boy original experience and places the game inside a bunch of immersive trippy environments, feeding you some matching music. And as you're concentrating on the puzzle and you're being immersed in these worlds, it becomes the ultimate form of escapism and meditation. It's oddly relaxing. It's way more fun than it looks. Paranormal Activity. Not the best game, but it's a scary one based on the hit movie franchise. You have been armed with a flashlight and you will be exploring a rather dimly lit home in the forest, but something else is haunting the home and is hunting you. And you're going to push forward to uncover the mystery of the house, and the game prides itself on the fact that it gives you absolutely zero help. No prompts, no HUD, just drops you in it and says, enjoy. House Flipper VR. This VR game is from the flat screen game House Flipper, obviously, and as the name suggests, you'll be renovating houses in order to make a profit. So you'll have the fun of cleaning a home, destroying stuff, decorating the home, to the level of detail of shelf placement, sanding down walls, painting them, even building furniture. But if you want to enjoy this sort of gameplay, you're probably better off actually cleaning your own home. The game wasn't received too well. Angry Birds, an instantly recognizable franchise from the mobile era, but turned into a VR game where you will pull on the catapult and aim it in 3 dimensions at the ugly green pigs. It has simple arcade-like gameplay, trying to achieve full marks on each level, but it's recently been updated to also support a mixed reality mode, where you can have little piggies and birds in your own home. Not for me, but maybe for younger folk and new players, you might enjoy this one. As a veteran, I want something a bit more involved. Creed Rise to Glory. Based off the Rocky franchise, the OG boxing game that I think was a launch title on the Quest 1, it offers a more casual boxing experience, but it'll still make you rather sweaty from punching and bobbing and weaving. You will train in the gym and then you'll take the fight to the ring. There are better boxing games out there, but this obviously has the franchise behind it, which gives you recognizable tunage and characters. So that is my list of all of the franchised VR games that have come to the Quest. Did I miss any off the list? Please let me know down below, and what games you would like to see come to VR, because one that I want is Halo. I just want Halo so dang bad. If you're interested in any of the games that you've seen here, they are linked down below in the description. If you feel like subscribing, it will mean a lot to me. Thank you so much. I hope this was helpful, guys. Have a great week. Happy gaming. Good day.